My name is Mark Boots-Ebenfield. I direct the Center for Teaching Innovation, and I'm working with
Gail Rankin, who's the Director of Information Technology in the area of academic technologies.
Yeah. So we do a lot of different workshops together, making sure that we cover both the tool itself as well as uses of the tool within the classroom. So today we're going to be talking about Voicethread. And what I wanted to do is point out a resource. Whenever we do a workshop, we add it to this page. If you want to just remember this particular address, the faculty-resources.pbworks.com. It's a wiki. If you get interested in wikis as you're here, Gail can set you up with a wiki in PBWorks. What we do is we try the best we can to link the different things we've worked on as well as items that we might find of interest when we go to conferences or reading blogs, etc. We put information up here. So we try to collect it in areas that make sense, but knowing that oftentimes the way you organize your life is, oh yeah, I went to a workshop back in September, we list under workshops anything that we might provide through this. So the first one up here for 2013-14 is Voicethread. You can also get to all the ITS workshops through here. So you'll see Voicethread if you remember you did a Voicethread workshop, and you can click on it. And that's what we'll be using for today's workshop in order to get in, download workshop materials, and there's information available about Voicethread. So I'm going to click on that to get started. So you'll see on the page that we have a little introduction to Voicethread. I've linked to a video that's actually like 45 minutes long about the theory of using Voicethread and different ways it can be used in the classroom. And we have some examples of using Voicethread that we'll be going over today. And then some materials to help you build a Voicethread. And today we'll be using these workshop materials. Some references of how Voicethread can be used within the classroom. And this is a page we'll build out as we run into additional resources and information. So what I'm going to do is start with some examples of Voicethread so you get a sense of what it is. It's a lot like PowerPoint. If you picture, we'll have a frame in the middle of the screen and slides. You'll go from slide to slide within Voicethread. But it's an online tool, and it's a collaborative tool. So you can have many people working on a Voicethread. You can have people go to a Voicethread and simply comment on the Voicethread. Their comments show up along the side, and the comments can be text, audio, or audio and video together. So what it does is create a nice collaborative PowerPoint, and once you've done that, you realize that, oh, this doesn't have to be a presentation, right? I can do a lot more with this. So we have sort of 5 general categories. One is the presentation. One would be a class project, because you can actually, each one of the slides can be a different project, so you've brought them all together. And then different people can comment or narrate that particular project. A research project, because within each slide, you can have text, you can have audio, you can have images, you can have video, so it becomes a multimedia presentation. So if you ever wondered of how your students could share a presentation online, this would be a potential way to do that. Or if they just wanted to, if you wanted them to present a multimedia project rather than a straight paper, this is a very easy tool. Digital storytelling. You can put together a series of images or images and video, then narrate it, which is your prototypical digital story, or just a group discussion. You can ask questions, and then people in class can go up and answer each one of those questions. So we'll give a couple of examples, starting with the group discussion. Hopefully. So you see that in the center screen, you've got the discussion question. This is probably made using PowerPoint since you can't actually type into the screen within Voicethread. When you upload a PowerPoint, it uploads all of the slides and creates a new slide for each one of the PowerPoint slides. The first one to narrate, usually the instructor, would show up in the upper left. And then as other people join and comment, their comments appear on the side. In this case, everybody has their own identity, and they've uploaded an image of themselves. You'll see other cases where this doesn't happen.
I've taught online for many years, since 1994 was the first time, and I've taught every semester since then, probably about.
Okay, so that's an audio comment, and as we go through and click, you may find, in this case, a text comment, right? So one of the things that's really nice about Voicethread is if you have a microphone that's working on your computer, you can record audio. If you don't, you can simply have the, sorry, I'm going to stop that. You can simply type text. So a student isn't blocked from joining the conversation if all they can do is type in the text. So this is one question. But if you have a series of questions, you then click on the next slide, and you'd see that the same people are then answering a second question, right? I guess there's only, there are 3 questions. The who are you slide, I guess there's only one question that they, oh, I see. Please, yeah, sorry. Please tell us about you and why you're taking this course. Have you taught or taken an online class? And then what one thing are you most interested in learning in this course? So she had a series of questions that the class was going through and answering. A lot of times this is just a nice break from a typical text-based discussion, right, in an online or hybrid course. Also great for introductions in an online course. Yeah?
On that last question there, when you showed that one example, what would the media example be for that second person? I think it was the question before this.
Let me go back. Okay.
That one. The second person. I thought it said media.
Oh, it says loading media, whether it's audio or audio and video. And I don't remember if there's I don't see anybody that recorded video, but I think we'll see an example of that in one of the others.
I've taken several online courses that have been delivered in many different formats at various institutions.
Okay. So that's a group discussion. This is an example of a digital story.
Raindrops appeared and gently fell one by one on the lake.
So you'll notice that if you have one person narrating,
My daughter
it
Jackie
automatically flips as soon as the person is done narrating.
So she grabbed the small fishing rod out of the shed and ran to the dock. One cast, 2 casts, 3 casts. All in.
Okay.
So if you were making this,
Yep.
would you just like deliberately stop and like count to 3 or 40 so, and it would move up? I mean, what's the procedure? You want to have the slide change in your voice.
We'll show you, but it's automatic.
Okay.
There's a slight pause in there, but
But
that's
do
not
you
something that they
pause?
plan. No, you don't
Okay,
pause.
I get it.
You simply record, and it takes the program a second to register that there's no audio. Move forward. Yeah. this is just a presentation. So let's say you want to narrate a PowerPoint and you want a simple way to narrate a PowerPoint. This is basically what this person has done. And I think there's actually a slide before this one. So I'm going to go back.
So on the left, we've got an epithelial sheet of cells, and on the right, a pair of metastatic cancer cells. So the question is, what changes occur, and what drives the normal phenotype to the cancerous phenotype progression? So basically, what takes us from the diagram on the left to the diagram on the right? Another question we can ask is, how, as this progression occurs,
And you see that you can draw on the slides as you narrate.
structure
That's
and
built
therefore
into it.
function?
And it'll flip to the next slide. See, it's just
So the first
automatically
point here
built
is that all cells in a mesozoan organism have access.
Now you'll notice that you allowed comments. That's something that you can allow or disallow, and we'll go through how to actually do this after I do the presentation. But then students were able to go in and then ask questions. Now you notice this student, if you don't have an image or don't upload an image of yourself, you're automatically assigned an icon, right? And a lot of the icons look a lot like Monopoly. So the student actually made a statement and asked a question. Then the professor came back in and then responded, right? So then it becomes sort of a discussion around the presentation, which is kind of nice. Okay. So
the ability to write on the slide was through Voicethread.
yes. So not from higher education, although you may see this in the education department occasionally, right? But this teacher decided to organize all of the class's projects into a Voicethread, right? So you can upload images. They could have been scanned in. They could have been photos that they took. So this would have been, right, here you can see the entire project all at once. But this would have been one of the students' poems, and then each student can then narrate, right, his or her own poem, page, presentation, whatever it happens to be. And the final example here.
Story about Worcester Memorial Park and the road that's taking place there over
Right.
the last.
So if there's field work, oftentimes it's nice to have images as part of the report that you're doing. This obviously works well with geology.
Park is located near Worcester, Ohio, in the rugged glaciated Appalachian Plateau region of northeast Ohio.
Okay. So a couple of things that we'll go over. But let's say you forget, because we know that sometimes you might do a workshop and then not get back to Voicethread for a while. If there's anything that you forgot, we have a link to a comprehensive introduction to Voicethread. Of course, we'll have this video available to you as well. You can come see me or Gail or Derek, and we can help you create a Voicethread. But you'll be able to go back to this page as well if you just want to get some pointers if you're at home, if it's 2 a.m. and you decide that might be a bad time to call. You'll be able to get to some information here. For this next part, what we're going to do is, if you can go to this Voicethread page, and I'll go back to how to navigate to it, we have some workshop materials that we're going to have you download. And I did pictures of puppies, cats, and little kids. Freaking nobody can have a problem with that, right? And so then you can put together a story, and we can share stories that you put together using these images. And you have a choice of images. There's also some music in there, so you can see what it's like if you upload music. I don't remember if I added video or not. But if we have time, we'll go into some of these repositories where you can find additional materials if you'd like. So, if you're teaching a class and you'd like to introduce Voicethread to your students, one of the best ways to get students into Voicethread and using it is to have them first comment on a Voicethread. When you go to comment on a Voicethread, it asks you to log in. So you end up quickly and easily creating an account and learning half the functionality of Voicethread. So on this page, and this is the part I wanted to back up to, first make sure you go to this particular address, facultyresources.pbworks.com. We'll make sure that you're there. Once you're on this page, if you remember, if you scroll down to the bottom to where you have the workshop links, click on Voicethread. And in the middle of the page, suppose I could have phrased this a little bit better, but it says, what kind of person are you? And that's our Voicethread. So you click on that. And there's a series of slides. So read this cartoon and then respond to the following question. Are you an optimist or a pessimist? I like the Russian definition. A pessimist is someone who thinks things could only get worse. An optimist is someone who thinks they couldn't get worse. Okay. So you see, once you're on a Voicethread slide that allows comments, you see comment on the very bottom. You click on comment, and then you're immediately asked how you'd like to comment. You can type in a comment, you can record a comment, you can videotape a comment, or especially if you have a professional account, you can actually call in a comment. It will call your phone. For that, you need a certain number of minutes or credits, and that's why you need a professional account for that. If we simply click record, you'll see what's going to happen is it immediately asks you to log in. If you don't have a Voicethread account, you can click on not registered yet. I've found that this gets students in and online. I've done this online with classes. It works very quickly. I've done it in workshops with students, with faculty, and everybody's able to get in very quickly and make comments. So at this point, we will pause, and you can log in using the demo accounts that Gail has set up, and you can walk through this particular Voicethread and make comments.
You won't even notice if it goes right in. It'll just be accepted, and you'll just go right on in and be able to comment. But you need to use these microphones right here, and they go on with the microphone on the left-hand side. And your microphone's going to come down to where it's below your chin is where you want it. Okay? And it should all be plugged in. And the first thing it's going to ask you to do, and let me just log in with an account so I can follow along with you, is it's going to ask you to identify your icon. And at the right. So hold on. And so it's going to ask you to identify who you are. Now this person's attached to somebody. I can click on this. I can create another identity. I can add an identity. It's going to ask you, it's literally asking you, what kind of picture are you going to want to be? So you can upload the one that they've suggested for you, or you can pick another one. Again, as Mark said, the images remarkably look a lot like Monopoly, or I can add my own image, which is what the person did here. They added their own image. And since we did this at another time, you might find an image in your account that's already been created that you like better. Sometimes it's a picture, and sometimes it's a black and white photo.
So why would you want multiple identities in your account?
You want multiple identities in your account So when you're looking at the comments, the way Mark has here, each person's different. And if we comment more than one time, you can track those kind of comments. So you want to choose your icon, click on one, and then you can move to making a comment. When you choose one, it's going to show up down here in the bottom right-hand corner, left-hand corner.
So we just hit close.
Choose one and close. Okay? And then the next step you're going to go to is record our comment. Remember, we have a lot of options here. We can call it in, we can video, we can record it, or we could type. So we're going to record a message. So we'll give you a second to click on this. And if there is a microphone, you're able to record right away quick. I'm going to type it in.
It's hard to say what kind of person I am because it changes all the time. How do I stop it?
You click back on the red when you're done.
This?
Mm-hmm. That's okay, that's fine. So now I have this microphone. I'm going to turn around, cancel this, and try recording. If it didn't pick it up. All right. This area right here is your control area. So if it picked up a microphone, you click on it to record and click right back on it when you're done. It will replay your recording for you so you can choose whether or not you want to keep it.
Is a typical mine saying, hold on?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's going to process.
Okay.
It's going to take a little bit of time. And now we have the recording there. I can start recording. It may take a second. At the bottom down here, you're going to see where the recording button is. And as it starts to record, this will move from the right to the left. And it'll take a second, and then you'll be able to start recording. It says, OK, start talking. You're able to talk. And then you click right in this area again to complete it. We'll wait a few more seconds to see if that's going to go. If you're up at the top up here and your machine has the browser you have, it might ask you to allow again up at the top. If that shows up for you, you have to click allow. Very far up here at the top, way up by the voicethread.com, you can click allow again, and that will get you going quite quickly. As you can see, it actually has been recording what I've said. And when I hit save, I now have a comment. Hope this is right.
And how do you listen to it?
When you click on your icon, it will start to play.
Oh,
Can you hear this? Right.
Why are you playing through the microphone instead of through the computer?
Right. So I'm just going to turn this off so you'll be able to hear this for the next part. So that's okay. So we're going to give you a second to play with it a little bit so you can understand how it works.
How could I didn't hear anything. I don't know if I was too soft or
Now
what.
click save,
Save. I never heard myself.
then try again.
I might not have heard myself,
Well, I think I am an optimist, but it does depend on the occasion that I'm in and how I'm feeling inside.
Excellent.
So if you click on the flat iron,
Now save.
Now save.
why don't you go to the next slide? Click on there.
So now you still have to save.
Okay.
And now you're up there.
Wait.
You won't be able to see it here, but when I reload this again and go to see this program again, you're going to see that your hourglass is right here. And now when I play, you talked here, your recording will show up here if you've done both. Yes, I will.
I'm a realist. I think things can always change.
There you go. And this is going to go through and play them all.
Preview.
So we're going to, just so you can see, it's not an easy thing to do. It takes a few seconds. You probably want to plan in a practice session if you're going to be using it in the classroom. One of the other things is on the second slide, it's a PDF. So you actually can maneuver around this. By clicking on this, we can zoom in, we can zoom out, we can go to different parts so we can read different areas. So if you have that PDF already prepared, you can use that as well. It makes it very easy to create these kind of voice threads.
Yeah, when I was using my icon with the little iron,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure I did it right because someone else speaks first and then my comment came in.
Exactly, which means there's another person who also has an iron. So you'll be sharing that image unless you change. Another reason to get something that's unique to you.
That's right.
Okay.
To get something else, you could just pick something from ClipArt
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
there's a place we could have inserted it.
Yep, we're going to go over all of
Okay,
that.
thanks.
Allow you to do that. Is everybody clear so far? This is what it's like to be the student, and we're going to switch gears and become the teachers. And if you're ready to do that, we'll proceed to that right now. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to go back to that PBWorks page. Actually, there's two things we want to do. If you come up here and click on the close this voice thread, you're going to return to a page that looks remarkably like this. And in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see that you're logged on as a particular person. Does everybody see that right up at the top? You're at the person as we logged in as. Okay? And so the first thing we're going to do is take a break and go back to the faculty resources page so we can download those course materials. And so to the right is this little gray area. We're going to click on that. That allows you to open up a new tab. And we're going to be typing in faculty-resources.pbworks.com. That's the wiki that we keep for all the information. It's where we started the day. And when it comes up, we're going to scroll to the bottom and click on Voicethread in the workshop links. And then below this evaluating and creating icon is the yellow splash that Mark's put in there so you can download your materials. And you're just going to click on this to download. And what you're going to get is this message saying we can't really do anything. It says DTS puppies, but right up atop of that, it says view and download. If you click on download, it will automatically download that page. And you'll get a blue arrow that comes and just goes down. It takes a second for this information to get downloaded, but it's showing up here in your your bottom left-hand corner. It tells you how fast the downloads are there. And over to the right, it says show all downloads. So when we're done, and I have 24 seconds left to go, we'll be able to click on the right-hand side and open up that file. Excuse me. This is important because as we go to create a Voicethread, you'll have a selection of pictures. So mine is done. Is everybody else's done? No. Okay. Just let us know when it's done. You'll actually get a second folder to the right of your download, which should allow you to, it may take a second after it's done for it to appear. Wait 1 second. You're looking for this second icon that shows up to the right here. It may take a second for that to appear, or you can click on show all downloads. Is yours done? Still moving along? Okay. So if you click on show all downloads, you can actually click on the puppiesandbabies.zip file. It's the bottom one, maybe the only one you have. And then we're clicking again on the puppies and babies file folder at the bottom. And then you should see a list of all these. It starts with 2 happy kids when you see the list of files. So you want to click again on that file folder. Yep. And so your list should look like mine. Does everybody have that now? Great. So we're done with this. So we're going to click back on the Chrome at the bottom. And the Chrome screen, we're going to click back to Voicethread. So we'll come back to this view. It's the very top one on the left-hand side. Everybody all set? Great. So now we're going to have three areas right here. We have a browse area, a create, and my voice. We're going to go to create because we're going to make a voice thread. And this starts with you uploading the information that you want, which is why it was so important that we did that. We're going to click on upload. And we're uploading these items from our computer, so we'll be clicking on my computer. And if you go to downloads on the left-hand side and click on your puppies and babies, it's going to upload go back to my computer. If you open the puppies and babies file, it's not going to, we have to open it. It won't let us do it. All right. So when you get to this place, I'm going to have to choose the files. Why don't we do this way? If you go back to your view of all your folders and you click on large icons, which is way over to all of these folders with the 2 unhappy kids, way over here, you can actually change the listing from details to large icons. That way you can actually look at the pictures that you want. Really, you can, when everything is going well. And we can choose some pictures that we would like to have. Let's just choose a couple. I'm going to take the 2 happy kids, the music, the goats, and the crazy cat, and we're going to see, I'm putting them on my desktop. I've got 3 pictures and a piece of music. So I want you to click 3 pictures and a piece of music. Yep, and just change them off to the desktop. Everybody pick their 3?
How did you get it to open so you could drag?
When I was on the downloads,
Yeah.
you double click on the icon,
Yeah.
double click again, and then you'll be right there. You can list them, and then you can choose the ones that you
Oh,
want.
you did the whole file.
Yeah. When you're done, if you go back to Chrome and we get back to create, we'll all work the next part together.
To do 2 pictures and music.
Yep. You all set? Okay. Have you, when you get back to Voicethread, you're going to click on Create, click on My Computer, and we're going to click on the desktop to find our 3 pictures and our music. And so I have 2 happy kids. I'm going to click on Open. It's going to start to upload. You will see the picture when it comes in. And then you're going back over to My Computer and click on for the same area for the second picture and our music. Know that we're developing a story about this, so as you pick your pictures, that perhaps we may need to think about some of these pieces of information. Okay. We're about some music up as well. Depending on what you're bringing up, it may take a little bit more time rather than less time.
I can't get mine to drag and drop.
One of the things that we usually tell you at this time is you can bring a PowerPoint into this as well. Do we have 3 pictures? Are we ready to proceed? So when we're ready, we're back on Create, and we have our 3 pictures. The last one you brought up has that yellow border around the outside edge, and you can move it. So we're about to tell a story, and my picture is going to be crazy considering the selection I have. I want to move this around because I'm already having something in my mind of what I'm going to do. To move, I can just move this over to here, move it to here. Maybe I want to move it back. You can move it as many times as you need to move it around to get just the right item in just the right format. And then we're ready to start. So I want to give you a few seconds to think about what we're going to do, what your story is. Okay? Think about what your story is. To begin, we just click on our very first icon and step number 2 on the left-hand side, which is to comment. I'm really looking at my picture, and now I have options. This is where the teacher would start the lecture if you were doing an online lecture. This is where someone might start their story, and that's where we're going to begin. And again, when we click on comment, just like we did a second ago in that lesson as a student, now as a teacher, you have the same options. You can call someone, you could videotape, you could record, or you could type. And when you call somebody, it's going to ask you to put in your telephone number, and it calls you back. All right? When you videotape, if you have the capability, it will take it right off the desktop. It'll ask you to allow them to videotape you like we did with the microphones. So it's the same as record. So we're going to ask you to start to make your stories, and we're going to pause while you create a story, and then we'll come back and share at the end. Okay? So go to the next slide. You'll click on the next picture, or click on the arrow in the bottom on the right hand side, and you can add to your story. If you need to see how these all go together, you can click on these slides right here and change the order. Zoom in, zoom out, or go back to one particular slide. So if you want to preview, you have to click on the My Voice, add a title for the entire thing. Once you save it, then you will be able to see it and see what it looks like.
Sorry, where's my voice?
So it's up here at Create. You're in Create. I'm going to hit save, I'll save it, and you'll have something that's here. Okay. Once you've saved it, if you want to go back and edit it, you have to click on this item and click right back into the picture and onto a particular picture, and you can resume. You can go up to menu at the top and then select edit, and you'll be moved back into edit mode. So when you're done and everything's perfect, we just want to talk about the options for sharing because I think that this is important. So when you're in the create area, you want to click on share. This really goes over a lot of information. So first off is you can get a link to share with one person, or you can share the group with anyone you'd like. You have other publishing options that are down here at the bottom. We're going to go through. We're actually going from right to left. We'll start with the publishing options. Can anyone view it? Can anyone make comments? Those are important. Okay? And you find these options at the very bottom of the screen, down at the bottom. And you just check the ones that you would like to have. If you make it so that everyone can view it, that makes it a public. So there's public and private, and you really want to know about that. Private simply means no one's going to get in here unless you share the link, Or in this case, on this front page, you can specifically invite certain people. So if I wanted to add all of you to a certain item, I could send in your email here, or I could look at my contact list or people that are in our Voicethread organization and add to that list and send an invite to specific people.
You can only add people to your contacts if they already have a Voicethread account.
Right.
So what I usually do is set up that Voicethread like we talked about in the very beginning, where you invite them to comment. Once they've commented, they've created a Voicethread account. I then collect those Voicethread accounts, and then I will invite them to future Voicethreads. So those are then closed to the class. The other thing you can do, of course, is make sure that you don't click off allow anyone to view, and you simply put the links into Canvas, and really only people in your Canvas course are going to run across it.
Right.
So how did you get from that screen with the check marks to being able to put in only specific emails? I lost that there.
This page right here is what happens when you close out of the place where you are. If you're clicking on publishing options, then this will come to the forefront and will eclipse anything else. If you make it public, then you can't address it to everyone else. So if I did this, then other options would no longer be available. So when I close this,
You don't do anything, you don't check any of those 4 boxes if you're going to do it for a group.
if you have a specific group in mind,
Yeah.
as Mark just said, the best way to get their names in there
Yeah.
is to have it open, have them come,
Got
make a
it.
comment. They have to log on with an email, so they'll make an account, and then you'll have your group for the next one to go through.
Got it.
It makes it very easy for you.
Yeah, I missed a link. When I'm on My Voice,
Mhm.
my movie is still there, but when I go to create, it's not.
Right, so you see in the My Voice, there's this little gear.
Yep.
When you click on that, you can edit. And that brings you back to the create again. It brings it back into that area, into the design mode.
And if you click on Browse, you're seeing all the Voicethreads that anybody in the world has created and made available.
Right.
And yours would be in there somewhere,
Right.
but who knows where.
You can also export the Voicethread, and when you export the Voicethread, you can no longer make comments, and it becomes like a movie. Something like an archival, if something went really, really well and you wanted to archive it.
You can only export if you have a pro account.
Right,
And I think you're going to tell them.
we
about
do.
that next.
We do have a pro account. You're welcome to have a pro account. The college has licenses for it. We usually use the demo account so people can really see what's involved and see if they're interested in having an account. All you have to do is email us, and we'll send you back your ID and your password. Okay, and it does have pro accounts. You do have minutes so people can call in, and you have export capability as well. Okay.
You could export something you made to a Canvas course?
You would get a link, and you can put the link in the Canvas course. You see right here, get the link. You can get a link right here. That's what's going to go in your Canvas course. Or you can embed it, which is right to the right of a publishing. So once I've saved this, I have an embed code, and that can go into the Canvas course. Let's see if we can make that a little bigger. I don't think I can.
So if you embed, it's still a Voicethread, but they can see it in Canvas without going to Voicethread.
Right, it'll be that box.
If you export, you've created a canned movie that nobody can comment on.
Very important that you understand the difference between. So an example might be if you were at a seminar or retreat and you use Voicethread throughout the retreat and you wanted to save what was collected. That's a great example of an export. Okay.
What's an example when you would call in?
You'd call in if, well, let's say we were at a conference, a history conference, because that's the one I have here. And this is my constitution, and it's going to start up in a second. This will be allowing people to participate, and not all of them brought their computers with them. They can dial in and make a comment that way.
It doesn't have to be your phone number. I
No.
could create a slideshow, and I might have somebody who I know, let's say I do Russian lit, and I know somebody who's an expert on, Chekhov. I could put their phone number in. I could have it set up and say, okay, I've got it. I've got that slide you sent me ready to go. I'm gonna right? Type in your phone number, you're going to get a call, and just narrate that slide. So you could actually, you could put in phone numbers of different people, and you get a whole bunch of different people narrating.
And that makes it really fresh and interesting for the people who are listening to what's going on. Okay.
And Derek's always willing.
Yes, yes. So when we look at the browse, it gives you examples of what other people have done. And when you go to browse, I strongly recommend that you take the time. You can browse by different items like ethics. You can browse by roller coaster. You could browse by soccer. So it's not limited. It's the range of the tags, which would be used the way words that are used to search with, is as broad in VoiceThread as it is in Flickr or Google. It's usually reserved to one word. You're going to see people's homework. You're going to see conferences. You're going to see a lot of different things. More robots here. Information tech students.
Red Sox.
Of course.
I wrote it as one word though.
Okay, for the more robots, fewer laborers. A factory is buying computerized systems and robots.
It's just an example. You can lose yourself watching and listening to these things. There's a lot of information in here. And it really does span a lot of different age groups as well. K through 12 as well as higher ed as well as professional. So one of the other things I just want to talk briefly about is when you have your account, and we were talking about groups and contacts, groups and contacts is an option for you up on your user ID, which is in the top right-hand corner. And that's where you sign in and sign out. But if you click on groups and contacts, you could add people in. And that's where you would add in those names that you got from the student after that first. And then you'd assemble your list of groups. So if you're using this in more than one class, you may have a group from OCT 409 or English 101, and then you'd be able to separate out the different students that you have. Does anyone have any questions? We believe the best way to do this is to have you actually try it out. And like I said, all the accounts are free and available to you. All we need to have you do is let us know by email that you want one.
I'm sorry, that's to get an export?
To get an account. You can
do VoiceThread?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So
we
with that,
have to do it through you.
we have to have an email because I have to give you back a password. All right. So with that, we're out of time. And we thank you all for coming.